Hey friends, I'm connecting with Casey again. We got together last week for a chat. We've had a few chats now over the last year. We've been chatting a little bit. This is how it happens. It's about relationships, it's about dialogue, it's about communication. And that happens, when you have relationships. This is when we dialogue and we communicate. So as we build in relationship, more communication is had and we grow together. This is how we grow. This is how it goes, is that we're coming together again in a collective. We're sharing from and learning and growing from one another. It happens in relationship. This is what's happening. We're coming together, we're awakening, we're seeing what's similar more than what's separate. Good morning, good morning. I'm hanging out with my friend Casey today, just getting to know Casey more, getting to know Casey better, talking about what Casey's found, what's happened to him, what he's learning, what's happening as he's going. It's great when people are starting to grow and they're opening up and sharing. This is a wonderful time that others can learn and grow when we see this happening in another person. And someone's open and willing to share about what's happening for them when we talk about these things that we do to make ourselves healthy and well and better. Who wants to be better?
Me.
Who wants to lose weight, heal pain, make more money, have better relationships, have more love for yourself and others around you? Who wants any of this? If you're in the middle of your ages, if you're coming to the middle ages, if you're losing, if you're having a trouble in your life, like, here's an alternative. Yeah, brother. What's been going on with you this week? I would love to have like a if we could build a relationship where we could share a little bit about what's been happening for ourselves. If we could have a way to communicate with each other. This is what's been happening with me this week. This is what's been happening with you, so we can kind of check in with each other.
Yeah, I love that, John. I love that connection. And then also what you said about relationships. I really love it's how you're saying that. It's about expressing ourselves and sharing what we have to share, our perspective, and also about listening to the other person's perspective and really absorbing the other person's perspective and having a good balance between those two things is sometimes a tricky thing. Sometimes I want to just talk and keep talking, and other times I just want to just listen and I don't have anything to say. But having that ability to balance and have a good exchange is important in a relationship, I think. Yeah.
Well, this is really it. If you're talking about an authentic relationship, not a dictatorship where one is just telling the other what to do. If you're talking about a true authentic relationship, then what happens is there's energy supposed to move between the poles, that one contributes and then the other contributes. So really, in order for a relationship to be whole and happy and well and growing and nurturing and growing for both people, is both people have to be willing to ride the captain seat and then to allow the other to ride the captain seat. And this has got to be like a back and forth, a masculine, feminine, an exchange of energy this way. And this is happening, then there's a growth that happens from that. Now, if you can have a relationship with someone that you can articulate this to, and you can start to speak this to someone, then you can start to communicate and create a relationship that's building and growing and nurturing and supportive for you and the other.
Yes, and on that topic, I'm also noticing how when I shift how my perception and the way that I conduct myself, other people around me, my relationships are repairing, are changing for the better, and they kind of learn by this entrainment or by monkey see, monkey do. They see me putting the work in, and then they do it. They just do it. I don't have to tell them. Yeah.
It's weird because it's rather than trying to get them to do it, that by doing it myself, by modeling it, that the others start to do it too. So it's like you almost have to give up on trying to get them to do it, and you just do it by actually doing it yourself. This is the only
Exactly.
thing that you can do, is model it. It's the only thing you can do. If you try to tell somebody about it, it seems like you're trying to sell something, like they think you're trying to convince them of something. No, the only thing that you can really do is model it and share it with another. Share it with the other. And then if you are both, doing that together, then you'll both benefit from that together. Right? So we can both grow from that. If we're saying like this is a weekly accountability call where we're going to talk about, what's happened, if there's anything been going on personally that we can work on each other as brothers, loving one another, loving ourselves and loving the other. If we can support the other this way, but then also have a little bit of a goal of trying to give something out to the community. So we're also here with a goal, like let's talk about the 5, 3, 7 top things that you found that were helpful for you to make a shift in the way that you're looking at your life. Because this is what it
Yes.
is, isn't it? Isn't it really a change of perception on your life? But like not just a moment change, it's a real change. Like, no, I'm looking at my life differently all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a major shift. It's my entire reality. It's the entire universe, it shifts. And not just this dimension, other ones as well. But it's this love, like self-love, and treating yourself well, and learning how to respect yourself, and learning how to show other people, like how you're saying, by modeling how to do that. Because I feel like that's the main thing that is holding a lot of people back, is that unhealthy relationship with themselves and with the world outside, that I had for so many years, that got me depressed to where I almost wanted to die. I wanted to give up on life, and to learn that was under my control the whole time, and that now I can choose. I can make a daily choice to put in the work and the energy to make my life everything I dreamed, everything and more. Yeah.
So it's you're becoming more of an active participant in your life, rather than like this is like what's happening, I'm going along in my life. No, I'm contributing to the energy that I'm putting into my life. I'm changing my give to my life. If I want to get something different from my life, I got to change my give to my life. That's a vibrational or an energetic or an emotional shift, a loving shift into myself and a loving shift outwardly into my life. That's a change of love in my life. It's more
Yeah,
love in my life.
absolutely. Yeah.
How to do that? How to do that, Casey? How to tell people, how to teach people, how to help people to make that shift? What have you found? Like, what have you been doing? Like, what are your top 3, 5, 7, 10 things that you've been doing that have helped you to make a shift in your perception, in your energy, in your health, and what's changing your relationships? How's it happening? What are you saying?
Yeah, so I actually have 11 categories now, 11 categories for conscious change. I've been working on that all week. That's kind of what I've been focusing on, working on that, as well as just my daily practice of helping myself, to overcome the things I need to overcome. And I kind of wanted to start, John, because I got to be honest, I'm a little bit, I act natural, but I get a little bit nervous on camera. And I was wondering if we could start with a cool exercise that I'm thinking. So one of these categories is laughter and silliness, and it's a way to let go of the intellect and get more in touch with with the just the body and the feeling and sensation. And so I think it might help me if I do a little making some silly sounds and movements, just to let go of my self-consciousness, because I think that gets in the way. Would you care to join me and just getting it loose, you know, get loose. Yeah, buddy, get loose.
Oh, whoa. Really let it go.
Yeah.
Do some movement, like really energize, really invigorate the body. He's changing his energy. Change of breath, change of movement, jumping around, agility, change of state, change of position, and a little bit of a shift in his energy body.
Yeah, and getting the blood pumping and the intellect out of the way. I have a real self-conscious, like I was saying in our last meeting, I've been self-censoring for a while, and I have all these thoughts, you know, like the inner critic, and I think these silliness, as well as all these other techniques, help to shift out of that mindset into a more embodied mindset of the intuition inside, and not all the intellect.
Awesome, brother. I think physical movement is, like just essential aspect of this whole health journey. It's movement is the spark of this. Movement is the ignition.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So what have you got there as your 11 things? Did you want to share those things? Did you want to talk like one at a time? Let's kind of maybe talk about what you've got there.
Yeah. I'm totally ready to talk about this.
Let's please, brother, talk about it. Let's talk about the top, the dirty dozen. Let's make
the dirty dozen. Yeah, it started out.
You can do to make yourself healthy and well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a big fan of trying anything and everything, even if it sounds kooky or weird. Give it a try. See, like let your body and your consciousness be the judge of whether it works or not. Don't let the crowd, the masses, influence you to not try something because it's too alternative or too weird or too hectic. So but yeah, so I'm someone who I've tried numerous different things, and I see the benefit in all these things. I try to find the positive in all these things, and to share my experience with these things, and also to share. I want to have 2 YouTube channels, one where I share my experience with it, and then the other where I share other people who are experts in these things, and maybe they can submit videos to give people practical exercises to do to try these things out. And so I kind of tried to make it easy to access, kind of easy to archive, easy for people to find what they're looking for. Is kind of all I'm doing. So I created 11 categories for consciousness change, and I might share some things on some of these, but some of them I'm not really an expert on. They're just things I'm really getting into and really passionate about, and I see the potential there for helping myself and others. So I'll just start right up. The first one is mindset and spirituality. I have those kind of together because I feel like spirituality is also a mindset. It's putting your focus and your mind on your spiritual nature. That's kind of key to letting it happen. It's not just the mind, it's the mind, body, spirit, but it's mindset is like the spark, that opens the door. So in the category of mindset, I'd like for people to share videos, and I'm going to share videos myself about things like willpower, like how to align your willpower with a greater good, things like a gratitude list, like a value list, things that you can read daily. Also like hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming, like how to, like positive affirmations and the repetition, using repetition to change your mind, a daily repetition of something. Like things like making amends and letting go of resentments. I was in Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous for a while, and I felt like that was one of the major things that really helped people shift in that program, is when they got to those steps where they're required to make amends to people they've harmed and let go of resentments to people who harm them, so that you can let go and move on with life. And so mindset, I think, is a really big one. And there's so many different things in that category, and I think each one of these things could deserve several videos, you know, several hours of exploration. And I got notes here, John. I got a little note thing to take notes if you want to add your 2 cents.
Yeah, I love what you said there. Mindset, I think, is, you know, where it I think it's where it's at. It's where the mindset. I think it all begins in the mind. I like what you were talking about. This is about a growth of spirituality. It's a growth of energy, and I like how you put that as a connection to the mind. I would like to add this sort of idea, this concept to kind of put into mind, to conceptualize this, that the intuition, the inner wisdom, that feminine or that creative mind, that would be actually the body or the gut mind, the body mind. And then that the physical mind, the brain, being more the masculine mind, the decision maker mind. This is the thinker. It's like mind and body. This is like mind and heart. And the feminine being the parasympathetic. So that's like the digestive system, the smooth muscle of the organs, the internal body, the innate body. And this system runs on the hormones and the brain neurotransmitters. So what you're thinking and saying and doing is affecting your hormones and your energy and your endorphins and the way you're feeling. This is the feeling body. It's affected by serotonin and hormones. And then the masculine body or the thinking body is more affected through the nerves, through the thoughts, through the nerves that you're sending a signal to the organs. So you see, one through the mind is affecting through the masculine, the thought is affecting over the feminine, which is the digestive and all the cells of the body, the organs are being affected by the hormones and the serotonin. So we've got 2 systems, the parasympathetic, that's affected by the glands and the thoughts through the endorphins, through the serotonin and the dopamine channels, through the brain neurotransmitters. And then you've got the masculine system, which is through the nerves, through the fight or flight. This is like the activity of the brain and the thoughts. So 2 thoughts that we're putting together. We're trying to find a balance between our thoughts, recreating a feeling in the body by repetitively thinking a certain thought creates a certain feeling in the body. And then the body responds hormonally to support. The endorphins and the ideas come and the hormones adjust to the feelings that you've set with your thoughts on a repetitive basis. So you're reprogramming that subconscious or that mind, that body mind through repetitive masculine thought.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go on to number 2. That was number 1, is mindset. And so number 2 is breathwork practices, which that was a huge one for me. Like that's kind of how I originally learned how to change my mindset. I started practicing the Wim Hof method about 6 years ago, and through the deep breathwork practices, I was able to notice these amazing changes of perception, like really profound changes of perception, and letting go and crying and getting things out. And so in the breath work, I would want to share some of my own stuff, like maybe some guided breathing sessions and stuff. But in breath work, I want to explore all different types of breath work, so people have a really good picture of how it works and what it is. Like I got here the Wim Hof method, holotropic breathing, rebirthing, Tumo breathing, Buteyko breathing, breath of fire, pineal activation breathing. So and any other ones, like these are kind of things that are this is the foundation, the categories of the foundation, but I'd love to add the more the better. You know, the more people can experiment with different forms of breath work, and how the breath affects consciousness, you know, and consciousness affects the breath, and yeah, how that works, and to have practical exercises that people can do so they can explore that themselves.
I think this is pivotal and foundational breath work. I think that you hit on a whole bunch of great ones there. Different types of breath work. I tell people that this is like, you know, breath is what moves the energy through the body. That we're actually breath beings before we're food beings. But we've been taught to eat and not to be aware of our breath. So it's really to kind of come back to what we have sort of forgotten, that we are breath beings, and to explore our breath. And that means our deepest inhale and our most complete exhale. And then sort of the pauses in between, a little bit of breath holding. And this is what, you know, constitutes all different types of breath work. Breath holding for different amounts of time. Deeper breathing brings the body into the parasympathetic. Shallow breaths put us into the fight or flight. So this is it. We get triggered during our day by circumstances, situations, or things. We get into a shallow breath and we change the body's pH this way.
Right.
The
Yeah.
body's not responding the same way. The cells are not responding the same way. We're sitting in carbon dioxide waste or acidic waste in the body. So we're creating a more stress-filled situation inside of the cells and an unhappy space inside of the cells by shallow breathing, by being triggered by our life. Like we're stuck in thought, we're stuck in mind, we're stuck in our story, and we need to take a moment to just kind of come out of it and take a breather from it. Just having a bit of dialogue, authentic dialogue like this, two friends sharing authentic thoughts and words, experiences together, and breathing deeply. And, you know, you start to feel like an energetic shift inside of yourself, maybe inside, you know, you feel a perception change from talking about things that are authentic and natural and whole and integrative, the things that bring us back into balance, things that bring us back into nature, right? These are words that, you know, everyone has heard before. They're anchored thoughts that we've all heard before, but we're not really applying in our lives. It's just really to step up and reapply the things we've forgotten, the things we've just let go of, like release, that are, you know, just natural requirements of life: breathing, drinking water, hydrating the body, you know, being aware of the body's pH, moving, breathing, being aware of the body's pH and carbon dioxide and oxygen potential within, and, you know, within the cell and around the cells of the body. Oxygenating the body, breathing. This is it. It's oxygenating the body with oxygen breath and oxygen rich food. Like this is what it is that I see.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the thing about the pH, that's influenceable with breath. And even deeper than that, I've had colds and flus that I've been able to let go of with breath. I've had like muscle strains and sore muscles that I've been able to heal with breath. And I'm not talking like, I'm talking within an hour or two session, like it can be released efficiently and quickly. Yeah.
Like things that you think are injury or like are permanent or solid are impermanent. And this change of perception can be achieved through a change of mind that can be achieved through a change of breathing. That sounds crazy, doesn't it? Yes, but it's true. And until you kind of have that happen to you, you're not aware of it. So this is why we practice breath work. I say, you know what, for me, it's a part of my movement program. Like moving gets you breathing. Like I incorporate deep, long, full breaths into my health and wellness program so that that's what it's about. Like breathing, moving, doing natural things, right?
Yeah. John, I love your program and your videos. It's so infectious and contagious. I'm always telling myself now, just getting going, just getting moving, just getting breathing. It's so great. Thanks. Thanks for sharing that. You know, yeah, it's so cool.
Brother, I got to get you to join in on my 7-day health challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
I want
I'm
you
up
to
for that.
join in with me. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, I'm loving having you around. I'm loving having a friend that I can talk to about these things. I appreciate it. I appreciate you and what you're doing, and that you're finding these things inside of yourself and being inspired by these things, because it's inspiring me.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, so the number 3 here, I got extreme temperature therapy, which is cold showers, ice baths on the cold side, and then we got like saunas and sweat lodges and the hot on the hot side, and exploring these different practices in a safe way. Like kind of, I'm thinking like people can submit some videos that would do a step-by-step process, tell people how to explore these things in a safe way on their own. Cold showers, ice baths, saunas, and sweat lodge. There's so much to it. I've followed the Wim Hof method for like 5 years, and I know they've done a bunch of scientific research into cold therapy and ice bath therapy, which uh, it's I'm not really I'm not really that into the science side. Like I don't know the terminology and stuff, but there's an amazing amount of research out there that shows how beneficial this is on the body and mind. And then for the saunas and the sweat lodge, I feel it's similar, but it's also this great detoxification, sweating and getting toxins out of the body, out of the muscles and tissues. Fantastic for someone.
Well, you know what? I love what you brought up there. The cold therapy, like you said, uh, ice, cold therapy linked completely with, damage for athletic performance. So ice, with any injury, reduces inflammation. This is it. That cold therapy reduces inflammation inside of the body. And so when we start to, connect it to all disease has an inflammatory root, all sickness, illness, disease, all pain has an inflammatory root. Once I start to identify this, then I can see that ice has an anti-inflammatory effect. So therefore, ice baths will reduce inflammation inside of my body. So therefore, if I feel better after an ice bath, there's a good indication that there's some inflammatory response going on inside of the body. So ice cold showers and ice baths are a great little performance check for you. Like you can see, like if I'm seeing like that's improving my life, well then, maybe I should expose myself to that on a regular basis. Maybe I should start into a sort of a treatment method or plan with that. And yes, I would definitely explore that. This is getting again into the feeling body. Like when you get into the cold, we got to see that the dichotomy of life. Like life is hot and cold. Like once you start to like embrace the whole, it's about being whole. So once I start, sitting in the cold and like how fun is that, right? But you're sitting in the cold, but you're just like, yeah, it's cold, but you know, so what? Like sometimes it's cold, like sometimes it's dark, and sometimes it's cold, and sometimes it's winter, and sometimes it's cloudy, and sometimes it's sunny again. And this is the cycle of life. So once we start looking at life as a cycle, and like and accepting kind of the hot and the cold, the dichotomy, seeing the whole, and saying, okay, it's not good guys and bad guys, it's not the east against the west, it's like they're all a part of the whole. So we need to see the gold in the east and the gold in the west, and kind of put this back together in ourselves, the masculine and feminine in the world, the masculine and feminine within us, in this, cold therapy, fasting, anything that reduces inflammation inside of the body, exercise, you said sweating in the heat and the infrared. I use the infrared. Anytime you're sweating, exercise is sweating, breathing, sweating. This is how the body eliminates waste. Detoxification, healing is an elimination, not a getting. It's a change of mind. It's a change of mind. Like you think you have to get food or get this or get that to be better. No, it's like my body is perfect inside. I need to get what's out. I need to get what's in outside. I need to get what's blocking me outside. I need to remove something. This is an elimination. It's an idea elimination. It's a thought elimination. It's a word elimination. It's a habit elimination. It's a food elimination. And nothing has to be forever. It's just a practice. It's a habit. We're developing, talking about habits, behaviors, healthy, natural practices that we can incorporate and stack together to make ourselves more successful.
Absolutely. And that's a perfect a segue into the next thing, which is mostly elimination, is fasting and dietary alchemy. That's the way I put it. Dietary alchemy, I like to put it that way because it's like what you put into your body will change your perception and your energy levels and your ability to stay calm. It has so much of an effect, like that old saying, you are what you eat. It has a major impact on your being. And so I like to look at it as alchemy, not so much what tastes good, but what is going to get me the effect that I want. What's going to tune my body up. What's the best fuel, the best way to run a human body and mind and spirit. And so in fasting, dietary alchemy, want to do some stuff about fasting safely, some how-to videos about how to safely fast, how to build up to it, how to break a fast, what to look for during a fast, different indicators that it could be going well, or that it can be difficult, for some people. It's been difficult for me a few times, depending on your habits beforehand. I think that has a big part of it. And then fasting, dietary alchemy, also preservative information and processed food information, bringing information more public about different preservatives, whether they're harmful to the body. Like there's material safety data sheets on a lot of these preservatives that you'll find in your your cereals and your chips and your candy bars. And if you look those up, some of them say it's toxic to human beings. Like, so bringing some of this information forward and getting people interested enough to really start exploring the labels and looking these things up. If they are going to continue to try to eat those things, they should at least know what they're eating. So process, and then also meat, dairy, wheat, dangers of those things, exploring those a bit. So this is some information for people, and also some practices like fasting, juice cleansing, other types of cleansing. And then in the fasting category, not only what we consume through our mouth, but your sexual diet, like celibacy, abstaining from sex, and television, maybe taking breaks from television, social media, different musics, or different, just different influences. All these things have an influence on our mind and our body, and taking the time to take breaks from all these things in a sort of way, like a fast, like a break from something, can be really helpful to let a being see how those things are actually affecting them, and how it works. Yeah.
I think that's a big one there. You're talking about awareness. It's really self-awareness, and how fasting can be used to improve your awareness by kind of taking something away, taking away the food, or taking away the screen, or taking away the sex, or taking away the money, or taking away the work, or adjusting your sleep habit, or the people that you're hanging around or speaking to, or the topics or things you're talking about, by changing things, taking a fast from the foods or the screens or the people or the habits, or just certain types of foods. You mentioned there cooked and processed foods. You mentioned dead foods, animal products. Like, I think reducing animal products, reducing cooked and processed foods. I think you talked about preservatives. Like, basically we're talking about drugs and chemicals. We're talking about
Yeah.
reducing drugs and chemicals in the body. And this means, like, stop eating the drugs and chemicals. Eat less drugs and chemicals, right? Eat more natural things that are just really from nature. Like, let's use logic with regards to the animal consumption. Like, we take the fruits and vegetables, we give it to the animals because we need to feed the animals, because we need to eat the animals to get the protein. But how are the animals eating the fruits and vegetables and making the protein that we need to eat? Well, how are the animals making it from the fruits and vegetables? Well, that doesn't make any sense then. So, reduce the things we have been taught and told, and sort of move back to the things that are more innate and natural. Like, if you look at the children, if you leave them in the room with the fruit and the chicken and the bunny, they don't eat the chicken and the bunny, they eat the fruit. Like, this is the innate. This is the innate being, the innate movement of the being, the innate food of the being is it wants to eat more fruits and vegetables, and it wants to just kind of move about and play. But the lifestyle has sort of pushed us into, like, production. Monday morning, you got to get this much things done. You got to get the kids to here by that time. You got to get them up, pick them up at this time. You got to get this much money in the bank on this day. And if you don't, then this is going to happen. We're going to take that away. So when they start to live in an unnatural way, well, then the body gets out of nature, gets out of balance. And we need to do some things to bring it back into nature, to bring it back into balance. We need to do some natural things with our movement, with our nutrition. We didn't eat 3, 4, 5 times a day 100 years ago. This is a thing we learned. They taught it to us. That's not how it was. We had less time with food. Take some time, less time with food. take some time, less time with things, and move to more hydrating, living foods that affect your pH and oxygenate your body. Put life into your body, fuel your body with life, and see your body comes back to life. Fuel your body with movement and breath and ignition words and ideas and ignition foods, and see ignition come back into your life.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you just mentioned nature, and that's my fifth category here is the connection with nature. And this is huge. But when I started on my journey, I realized that that I did a lot of things that weren't good for nature. My lifestyle, my career, a lot of things were not harmonized with nature. So a big part of that is harmony of lifestyle and career with nature, to make sure your career isn't one where you're polluting the environment or destroying habitats or animals, like we're talking about animals, and um, whether they have a good life or whether they're captive, and they're caged, imprisoned, as food sources. I don't see that is in harmony with nature at all. So there's harmonizing with career and lifestyle with nature, and then some actual practical things people can try, some exercises like barefooting in the woods, just barefooting around, gardening, gardening, getting your hands in the dirt, and then watching the life cycle of a plant, watching how the seed plant the seed, and it grows and it flowers, and it has all the parts to keep going, to keep propagating. And then foraging, that's something I'm really passionate about. I've been foraging for 4 or 5 years now. Well, way back, if you count just morel picking, I've been picking morels for like 20 years, but I got really deep into foraging 4 or 5 years ago, and was got a bunch of books and been studying all about wild plants and wild berries, wild fruits, and also the poisonous ones, of course, but the medicines as well. So in there, the medicine plants, and even the trance-inducing, the psychedelic plants can be used as medicinally, with great benefit to people. Um, and then like sharing some primal survival skills, like how to survive in the woods, how to build yourself a shelter, how to build different things. Like Mother Nature, on this earth, it's given us everything we need. Our ancestors were able to survive living in the forest with everything they need. And it's like relearning some of those skills. Something I've done a bit of. It's really helpful for the spirit, and for the mind, and it's definitely something that'll change your perspective, your perception, when you realize that everything is already here. And all the stuff we've created is pretty novel and cool, but it's not actually necessary. And so that, like, different connection ceremonies with nature, like just like the native ceremonies that they would do, um, to like for the crops, for the moon cycles, for there's many different ceremonies. To
Summer
get carried away
solstice
with that.
just about to kick off, just about to have our summer solstice. So, that's the sort of thing, like lunar cycles, like getting in contact with nature. I love this, what you're saying. I loved what you said there about primal survival, like that is so essentially grounding, naturally grounding. We need safety, we need security, we need survival. And so to get into nature and actually like sustain yourself in this way, this is naturally balancing or naturally nurturing for the body. Survival, yes. Fighting, survival, like same thing, martial arts, boxing, these things have breathing and protection. And whenever the body is protecting itself, there are natural things that the body does. So getting into these sort of primitive natural patterns for survival, and how to do that, mimicking that, going through those processes, doing those things, that's balancing for the body. That's in our primitive mind. Connecting to the primitive mind, connecting to the survival mind, coming out of the thinking mind, what we have learned, and coming back into the primitive mind, the natural mind.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, and so I'll get to number 6. Only on number 6 here. Okay, so number 6 is music therapy and sound and frequency therapies. So that's it's a huge category. There's a lot in that, but like one of the things I love to do is using music to change my mood. I like to listen to really positive music with a positive message, with a really upbeat kind of melody, really happy. It can have such an effect on a person. I used to listen to heavy metal and rap. I mean, I still do, but I know that can have a negative effect depending on the lyrics that you're constantly. It's like that repetition that we're talking about, that daily practice. You know, if that's what's in your head every day, it can have that effect on your perception. So using music in a responsible, constructive way. And then like there's trance music as well. So using music to enter into trance, into to aid with meditation, to aid with guided imagery. Then I also am really into ancient instruments, and I've been building some and learning to play some, like didgeridoos, gongs, flutes, the drums. Of course, drumming is huge, but talking about the ancient instruments and kind of a revival of some of that stuff, to see that they were probably onto some great things with frequency and stuff there, and maybe doing some frequency experiments with people who would be willing to experiment with different tones. You know, there's that really cool experiment where they put sand on this plate, and then they'll put a frequency, like a certain amount of hertz, and the sand will arrange itself into a pattern. And water does similar things too. And I'm sure that it works on our bodies in the same way. And so, and then also to dive into the harmonic construction of the pyramids and of other ancient structures, and how they may have been built with sound, like they may have used sound to assist with the building of these things. You know, levitations of stones and stuff. I've heard things like that for the pyramids, and then how sound works within those structures. How most of those structures are built to harmonize with sound, and to reverberate and ring, and to be like a primitive amplifier for sounds. And then also how music is huge into rejoicing in your spiritual connection. How it's like throughout the ages, that's how we worship, we give thanks to God, is singing the hymns and the prayers, and it's how we can join together, you know, in one song. Is a really transpersonal way to you know, to make that perception change, that perspective.
I love that. You know, obviously we're all moved by music. We're moved by sound. We're moved by frequency. We're moved by artistic. Sculpture has been like a part of human life, art and sculpture. It's been said as an ancient sage, you know, teaching that you know, life requires human art. Like for life to be complete, like humans have to add their part to it. Like God has created the human and the human has the ability to create his expression and his addition to it. So this is like a part of humanity. It's a part of our humanity, is to express ourselves creatively with our thoughts, our words, our actions, with our art, with our sound, with our words, with the way that we speak about ourselves and about our future, the way we speak over ourselves, our frequency, our vibration is the way we think. It's a collection of all of our thoughts. Like, do all of your thoughts end up in a real happy place, or do all of your thoughts end up in a real dark place? That's your frequency, your vibration, your tone, your footprint, your energetic footprint with the world. We want to change that frequency. We want to change that vibration. We want to clear out the waste. We want to clear out the darkness. We want to bring it to the light. We want to expose the darkness. We want to expose the low vibe stuff. We want to let go of the low vibrational stuff. We want to let go of the darkness. We want to let it out. We want to let the light have it. We want to give it away. We want to surrender it. We want to forgive it. We want to release it. We want to allow it. This is frequency. This is vibration. This is feeling. This is shadow work. This is releasing the low stuff, like you talked about frequency and vibration, sound, drumming, dancing, moving. Vibration is dancing, jumping around, vibration, invigoration. This is shaking the body, moving the body. Vibration, sound moves the body, moving the body on a more subtle basis, sound, moving the body on a more vigoration, jumping around. So we're talking about moving the body on a more subtle level with sound, music, but it's all about creation energy. It's all about feeling energy. It's all about the heart body. It's all about the parasympathetic. It's about the feminine. It's about the imagination. It's about changing our frequency, or changing our vibration, or changing our give to the world. Now, if we put a different frequency or vibration around us, we're receiving a different frequency or vibration from around us. We are exposed to a different frequency or vibration that we eat or that we have around us. That changes our frequency or vibration. If we eat higher vibration, living food, if we listen to higher vibration, living music, living words spoken or sung over us, it rises our spirit, our soul, or our feeling body. This is what it's about, rising up our feeling body or our feminine body.
Yeah. Awesome, John. Yeah, and I love what you're just saying. And as you can see, there's probably a lot of crossover with these categories. And
Yes.
when you get really deep,
it's all whole. It's almost, they all come back to the same.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It's all one. Like, you know, we're talking about oneness. We're talking about seeing the collective, the unity in all things. Like, this is what it's about, is finding what's the same in humanity, not what's separate and different. We're all the same. It's alchemy. You mentioned it. You know, it's all alchemical, whether it's food or sound, it's all frequency or vibration. That's alchemy, right? So, I mean, this is ancient ideas that have always been here. It's just aligning ourselves with the dichotomy, the two parts of ourself in life.
Yeah. It definitely is all connected. You know, like you're saying, it's all connected through the web, and the web of life. I mean, not the internet, but I separated these categories like more like for people to reference, and if people are suffering from a specific disorder that they want to like kind of hone in on one specific thing, they're able to do that, or or they can explore all these things. So 7 is something that I've struggled with, is sleep therapy. So I struggled with insomnia for a long time.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, and so in sleep therapy, different meditations we can do before bed, different natural sleep aids, plants that you can take that will help with sleep. I actually have a friend online who suggested to me to sleep without a pillow, because he said the pillow, sometimes if your pillow's too big, it will decrease the blood flow to the brain. And so I've been sleeping without a pillow for many years now. Also sleeping on an incline. This is really underground stuff. I haven't seen it much, but to incline the head of the bed about 6 inches, so you're sleeping on an incline, it creates like a natural siphon in your circulatory system, in your bloodstream, so that your heart does not have to work as hard, so your heart can rest more. It still pumps, but the siphon action, of the blood flowing down in gravity uh, aids in that process, so you're able to get a deeper sleep. I've done some of that. Then the effects of diet and hydration, which how that can affect sleep and insomnia. Hard versus soft beds, like a soft bed, a hard bed. Earthing, having a rock or something from the earth in the bed with you. And then fresh air, making sure your windows are open, you're getting fresh air while you sleep. And then all sorts of other things that can help, whatever can help.
I think sleep therapy, that's a big one. I mean, sleep is when the body recovers. This is when the body regenerates. This is when the body goes unconscious, right? So, I think that the time before our unconscious and the time when we rise from our unconscious, this is the time for mental programming, mental reprogramming, before sleep, after sleep. It's during sleep that the healing happens, the recovery happens. So sleep is important. If we're having sleep trouble, I think it's very common, once we come out of balance, that all of the things that are natural get out of balance. So sleeping, eating, right? Elimination, sexual, right? All of the things get out of balance when we get out of balance. So, sleeping a big one. We have to bring these things back into balance. We have to find balance. Sometimes we need to take naps. Sometimes we can't sleep for too long at a time when we're healing, when we're moving through healing. It's very common to have sleep trouble, and it's very possible to utilize the time before and after sleep for tremendous healing time.
Yes.
Realization,
Yes.
reprogramming before and after sleep. These are key things to do before we fall into the unconscious.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. I'm going to get to number 8 here is active and passive exercises. I titled it that because certain things I see as active exercises, like let's say weights, lifting weights, hiking, biking, like doing primal movement, that kind of thing, where you're using your mind to kind of guide the exercise and your strength to guide the exercise. And then there's passive, what I would consider passive exercises, like Tai Chi, Qigong, guided meditation, martial arts could be both. There's like Kung Fu and Tai Chi, dancing,
Qigong, yoga, yeah,
Qigong, yoga, swimming, and I just heard recently trampoline bouncing can be really therapeutic. It like shakes things loose, and it tones the body, and
walking, moving of all sorts of natural movements and passive movements, right? So some high intensity efforts like sprinting, jumping, squatting, lifting, bending, strengthening. These can be aggressive and strong, and then also they can be just gentle and slow, like the Tai Chi movements that are flexing, extending, and rotating. Just slow movements and fast, rapid movements. Like, we need to condition the body to handle all human movement. Like, if we don't use it, we will lose it. So we have to, work on the movements of the body, or the body becomes decrepit. Like, this is what happens. It atrophies the body, the muscles shrink, and we lose skills and ability to do things if we don't practice them. Like, if we want to get better as we age, we have to practice physical movement, speed and strength and balance and coordination, agility, coordination, conditioning, endurance. Yes, we must practice these things.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was laying around the house for many years, and it took a toll on not just my body but my mind, my emotions. I sunk into depression because I wasn't moving and exercising my body. That was a huge part of it. I realized now. All right, and I'll go to number 9 here. Is art therapy. You mentioned this when I was talking about music, but I separated the two just because music and frequency and sound is so deep, you know, on its own. But art therapy, things like painting, sculpting, working with clay, doing crafts, journaling as well, like finding forms of self-expression, nonverbal self-expression, or verbal, like poetry and music and stuff as well. But realizing there's a huge therapy, like you were saying before, about how creation needs this human expression. Like it can be creation is almost like the blank canvas, and we can paint it, like in all these awesome different ways. And so, yeah, especially journaling, like to say something like journaling, could be easily overlooked, but there's such a power in that, in writing things down. And in the programs of AA and NA, the Alcoholics Anonymous program, they have people write on things, not just their own life, like what happened today, but like if you read something in a book that touched you, you kind of reiterate that and what it means to you. And by writing these things down, it's a way to connect the mind and the body in a way that is really beneficial.
Yes, I think especially at the beginning, like journaling and goal setting and writing things down is a wonderful way to retrain the brain. Like this was the thing that I started with was, writing down goals in different aspects of my life, personal goals, relationship goals, financial goals, health goals, future goals, dreams, reciprocation. How would I want to give back to life? Like having a bigger thought in your life, having a thought that's out of the weeds of your life, like coming out of whatever you're thinking about. Like journaling is a great one, even to write about the things that are going on and then look at it from an objective and just kind of look outside of it and send love to it. Like this is it. Like we need to get out of like being stuck in the weeds. Anything that gets us out of the weeds into creativity or expression, or something that gets us out of thinking about whatever problem I've got with my health or my wealth or my relationship. Just something that gets me into my possibility rather than being stuck in the problem.
Absolutely, yeah. Painting's big. I started painting about 7 years ago, and it's so much fun, and it's so therapeutic. Yeah, it's amazing how much of a difference little hobbies like that can make in a person's life. Um, all right, so number 10 now is laughter and comedy therapy, which we kind of did the silliness, laughter and silliness therapy. It's a way of letting go of the intellect and letting go of the pressures of, sometimes it can feel like a lot of pressure to be on the path, of self knowledge and self improvement, because it's difficult sometimes, and so it requires a lot of effort, and it can be stressful when I feel sometimes like other people are trying to sabotage me, or society itself is not set up for this ideally for this kind of work, and being able to let go and laugh and be silly, and it's okay, it's still like, it kind of reminds me that life is kind of like a game. Life is a game, and it's not meant You don't need to take it so seriously to win or lose, you know, but to have fun playing the game. So in that category, like things like doing stand-up comedy or listening to stand-up comedy, whatever gets you laughing, and making silly sounds, vocalizations, silly movements. I love to do that with my kids. We like to horse around and act silly all the time. And yeah, there's probably a lot more. That's all I got on my list. But yeah, anything that works
I
to
think you're
create that
saying play. I think you're talking about play. I think you're talking
play.
about being childlike, you know, it's
Yeah,
playful. It's this is what we used to do. We used to have recess multiple times a day. We used to play and laugh and have fun and games and interaction with others. And then we stopped. We started paying bills. We started following the rules, towing the line, getting up and being at work for 9 and finishing at 5 and bringing home the money and, you know, accomplishing the task. Like, we got into like paying bills and we stopped working on our dreams and paying anything to ourselves or paying ourselves or, you know, doing anything for ourselves that was perfectly focused on ourselves. We really started focusing on a task, like I've got to accomplish this task or
yeah,
I'm not good. Like, I'm only good if I do this. I'm not good if I do that. It's like we got into this I'm not good or I'm not valuable unless something, you know, fill in the blank. Like, we got to
yeah.
change our focus. Like, we are good all the time. We need to play and have fun to feel good. And if we don't play and have fun and start putting some play and fun and laughter in, we, you know, we'll never be happy and playful again in our life. We have to start this new playful habit.
The practice of
Start
playfulness.
playing. Yes, we have to start playing again. We have to
Yes,
learn again. We have to use our imagination again.
absolutely. And then, all right, I'm on to 11, the last one, maybe the most important one of all. Community and relationship therapy is huge. How to have healthy friendships, like we were just talking in the beginning about the give and take, you know, and really being able to listen to someone else and respect someone's uh, different point of view, even if it's a complete disagreement on a subject. I like to look at it. I heard this really cool thing. It's like all the different keys on the piano. You know, your one note, someone else is way on the other side, the totally different note. But if it weren't for all those notes, you know, you wouldn't be able to write music. The humans, we need this difference and these different perspectives and like learning how to be able to accept someone who you disagree with and accept their perspective and love them and value them and actually delight that they're different. You know, like, it's great that people are so different. You know, it's awesome. It adds to this variety. You know, the an amazingness, complex. You know, intricacies of life. Um, so yeah, so just the people at large, but then how to have healthy friendships with people who are really close to you, who get on your nerves sometimes. How to deal with things like that. How to have healthy family relationships with your parents, with your children, with your loved one, your significant other. Those kind of dynamics. And then intimacy as well, like sexual intimacy and intimacy with another person, and how that it can work for us or against us in a lot of ways. Sex can be used as an addiction in a way of hiding and projecting and stuff. So to explore that, and then also to explore like community, different support groups, different religions, different groups out there that you know that people benefit from. You know, like I'm not going to judge whether they're good or bad. Like if someone benefits from them, they're good. You know, and so yeah, to give people um, a good deal of information on the different groups. You know, that they could join and how important it is to be part of a group and feel like you're part of a family, a community.
Yeah, to be in a community, to have others that you can talk to about those things, to have other people you can count on, that you can share with, because this is what it is. We have to be able to talk about these things. We need relationships. We need to talk about how to improve our relationships. We need to make our relationships become better. All of our relationships, sexual, non-sexual relationships, our relationships with food, our relationships with substance, our relationships with people. It's our relationships with ourselves. It is all about relationships and changing our relationships and having more relationships and having dialogue and communication in our relationships. This is how we grow. This is how we all grow together. It's oneness. It's oneness. It's about seeing the sameness in the other, that, you know, it's always two people coming together. It's always two coming together here. That's what this is. It's about love. Love is two coming together,
Absolutely.
left and right coming together, heart and mind coming together, masculine and feminine coming together, two people coming together, two poles, and the energy moves between the poles. And that's just nature. And that's just what we are all doing, just sharing nature together, relationship together, love and kindness together, practicing those things together.
Awesome. Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing your relationships. You know, you've inspired me to do the same, but I think that's really important to, when we have healed a relationship, or even when we're working on healing one, it's important to share that and express that, because it's so important, you know. Yeah, it's so important. And people, I see a lot of people like to keep that secret, or they feel insecure about it, like it could be their fault or reflect badly on them or something. But I think it's key to express those things and to share. Yeah.
Thanks so much for our chat time today, brother. We have to do it again soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, John. Sounds awesome.
Okay, man. See you later, bro.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.